What? Yeah. No, I'm behaving myself. No, I'm not playing in abandoned buildings. What? Again? Now, I suppose you had those people follow me again. Fine. Hey, this is Jimmy Pharaoh from Monte and the Pharaoh, and I want to thank all our subscribers. We have now passed 14,000 on our YouTube channel. But I want to ask our subscribers to take the next step for us and become a full-fledged member of Monte and the Pharaoh. Yeah, that's right, folks. There's 3 different levels to choose from. There's free shirts. There's free autographs. Just check it out and become a member of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh. Later.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monte and the Pharaoh, only seen here out of Ronkonkoma, Long Island, from the wonderful production studios of Indie Music TV. And at the board is our no longer new producer, but our super solid producer, Jared. How are you, bud?
I'm doing good. I'm getting the hang of it.
Yeah, more than getting the hang of it, brother. You're all over this, man, like white on rice.
There you go. And spiders know how to hang from ceilings anyway. Way to hang with us, Spidey.
Oh, look at this. You love the Spidey.
I love the Spidey. He's the man.
All right, Pharaoh, last week's show.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about it, but thoughts on last week's
You want me
show?
to remember last week right now?
Yeah, with the great Angel Amorosa.
Of course.
Did you forget that she was
the guest? No, I did not forget. I thought you were asking me to remember last week in general, which would have put me at, at a disadvantage. Wow. I'm still digesting a lot of the things that she said. It brings a lot of things to light. There's been some pretty emotional reactions to that interview, obviously. And I don't know, man. I wonder, if like, we've talked about this during the week, if the words that Angel said came from someone more famous or more established with a youth, they probably would have taken it as all truth and gospel. But for some reason, because Angel said it, she's lying. How the fuck do you know she's lying? You were there? You know what I mean? And why the hell would she make this shit up anyway?
Look,
what, she's collecting thousands and millions of dollars from saying this? No, she's not.
I don't know. I don't know if it's really that's even, like, I get your point.
Yeah.
But the reality, it's not for us to decide whether it's true or not, right?
Not for us.
Not for us, right?
Not our job. Our job is to let people speak.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
So, again, if I was just watching, or we were watching because we were interviewing her, she had a lot of stuff pretty nailed down. So it's either very well rehearsed or it's this truth.
Right.
The question is, how things maybe came about, from the Dom DiNucci story. Terrible story. Okay?
Messed me up.
But do we know that DiNucci, I don't think that was really solidified if he knew really what her age was.
Right.
We don't know this.
Right.
Again,
right.
I don't think it's really, like, in my mind, I don't think it's really proper. Like, I couldn't imagine, like, that's the first thing you do. You're training someone or you're talking to a woman, and that's the conversation you have with her.
Licka my dicka?
Licka my dicka.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
Right? And this just
rough.
goes on to what else we'll be talking about on today's show, right?
Yeah.
Because I think some people just feel like they're privileged and they're above the law.
That's been proven.
But I think there's common decency that's being missed here.
Right.
These are other human beings.
Yep.
Just the fact that, if someone, male, woman, want to have sex with you, a male, woman, whatever, and, they like to have sex with many people, it doesn't mean that you should treat them like
No.
anything less than a human being.
Absolutely.
They're not an animal,
Agreed.
right?
And she was
not
treated-
that you should treat an animal that way.
You know,
anyway.
and I give her a lot of credit. It takes a lot of guts for her to say the things she said. So obviously, you know, she's been wronged to some degree, no matter what way you want to spin it. If you're against her, she's clearly, definitely had some bad things happen to her. So I give her a lot of credit for being able to talk up. You know, the boys will just protect themselves. We all know this, right?
Well,
Boys
I
will
don't think it's just the
protect
boys.
themselves.
I think anybody's going to try to protect
Of
themselves.
course,
right?
but I'm telling you know, the business in general, that's what's been going on forever anyway. Of course they're going to protect themselves, you know?
I want to give a quick shout out to Stu's Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Absolutely.
Who
What is up, Stu?
invited Jimmy and myself onto
I
his
was sleeping.
show.
I was
You were sleeping,
Yeah.
but it's okay.
Yeah.
And
I come out of my coffin once a week for this show.
Stu is one of the good guys
Yeah.
in this whole thing
Yes.
that we're dealing with.
Can we go to Wales? Isn't that what Stu is? In like Wales? He mentioned Welsh.
Yeah,
I want to
probably.
go to Wales.
Really?
And watch a soccer game, a football game, sorry, Stu. With Stu. That's what I want to do. I wonder who his Manchester United is in Wales. I do wonder. I'm going to have to do a little homework now.
Look at you.
Well, one of my favorite Manchester United players comes from Wales, so Mr. Ryan Giggs was amazing. He won a bunch of titles, but you probably didn't care at all.
I could care less.
I know! What is it with you? You coach soccer forever, but it doesn't do anything for you? Messi? Ronaldo? I mean, back in the day, Pele? Maradona? None of these guys do anything for you?
No.
Man, that's messed up, but you like women's soccer, huh?
Love women's
Brandy
soccer.
Chastain ripping off a top?
No, it's
Back
not
in the
that.
late
It's
90s?
just-
Mia Hamm? Nice.
I think somewhere along the line, and I think it's fallen into wrestling too, is the women
Yeah, what is it with you?
seem to have an old school value to them that has lost in the male.
Really?
Maybe because the male talent has.
Dewdrop is old school?
I think so.
Really?
Why? Because her name is Dewdrop?
Dewdrop does not remind me of old school, but okay.
If name wasn't Dewdrop and she was
Mm-hmm.
this beast woman wrestler, all right? And when I mean beast, she's a bigger girl, right?
That's
so
rough.
You would take her more seriously.
Okay.
You took
Nia
Awesome
Jax.
Kong seriously,
Nia
didn't
Ja-
you?
No, Nia Jax I did.
You didn't take Awesome Kong
I
seriously?
never got into Awesome Kong, but Nia Jax I figured will bust up everybody in the room. Although I'm sure Awesome Kong would too, but I just.
How about like the old school? Who's the lady, the tall giant lady, Mad Maxine? You didn't take her more seriously?
No.
Yeah, you don't like women anyway.
Yeah,
in
I
that
do.
way, I mean.
Like Charlotte Flair's fantastic. I mean, you know.
Jeff Jarrett is now the vice president of live events, just announced today by the WWE.
Okay.
Thoughts on that?
Why? How come? You think he's qualified for that? What, he drew so many people in TNA? Boy, this guy, by the way, this guy's got 9 lives. Jeff Jarrett. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen such a resilient mofo? Jeff Jarrett has come back 1,000
Obviously,
times.
the guy
he rises again.
He knows he came from the Jarrett family.
He knows his
Jarrett
business,
family,
of course.
and but here's the.
I'm
I
just
told you this
impressed
before.
at how he just keeps
Some people can be
reappearing.
really good at what they do, but some people just have bad mojo or
Right.
juju.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I think I
And
got it.
Jarrett just has bad juju.
Yeah.
Anywhere he's gone,
It's a mess.
he's made
This
a mess.
could be a mess.
And guess what?
He's
Now
with
he's
us-
back
he's-
with the WWE.
Hey!
And look what's happening.
Hey, did you hear they're going to cross-promote with Global Force Wrestling? Oh, God. That was one of the worst experiments ever.
Oh, boy.
That wasn't even, I don't even know what that was.
So, guys out there, I just want to tell you that I received a phone call from the son of Bobby Fulton. And Bobby Fulton is asking for a public apology from the Pharaoh for last week's show. And then, by the way, this is a true story. And I really didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel we needed to do a public apology. But after thinking about it, I thought, you know what? I'll allow the Pharaoh to make his decision. If he wants to make a public apology to the former fantastic Mr. Bobby Fulton.
Okay, so let me outline what I'm supposed to apologize for. We are interviewing a guest like we do week after week. The guest starts to make a statement about how somebody did something to her, and I had the nerve to ask her the name. She supplied the name. She supplied the details. Bobby Fulton, I am not apologizing to you for 1 second. I asked her who the name was. You want to get mad at somebody? Get mad at the person who told the story. My job is to ask questions.
Good answer. Chris Stevens says out there, I don't appreciate Bobby Fulton's son, one bit.
Well, from what I remember, if I can, and you could kick me in the leg down underneath
No,
the
there's
table.
no kicking tonight.
Okay. What I remember is that this alleged agent was representing a couple of years back Abdullah the Butcher. He left Abdullah the Butcher alone here in New York State. This is what happened. And Abdullah basically was turning to us looking for cab money. I don't appreciate that either.
Did he apologize?
Nope.
Well, there you go.
I don't think he apologized to Abby either.
I want to give a shout out to people in the room. Chris Lee, always a loyal man.
Hello,
and
mate.
Good man, by the way. Matthew
Absolutely.
Holland. Roy, how
What up,
are
what up?
you, brother?
What
You're
up?
the man. Big Boss Fede.
Big Boss Fede.
Always great to
What is
see
up?
you.
What is up?
Who else we got here? Phil. Phil's in the house. Phil,
Phil DeCesare?
of course.
I love Phil DeCesare.
His
What's up, Phil?
loyalty to our team
the
is
man.
incredible. Loose in the house.
Loose cannon.
Everybody loves Loose.
There you go.
He's the man.
What is up, Loose?
Mitch Seinfeld, always
Mr.
a
Mitch.
loyal. What do you call when the Godfather?
That guy's brilliant,
Who's the
by
guy
the
you
way.
talk when
He's
the
brilliant.
Godfather goes to his and he needs some advice? What's
Consigliere.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mitch is our consigliere.
Tom Hagen?
Yes.
Nice.
JB, you're out there.
What
Love
is up?
you.
What is up?
Let's see who else we got. We've got Rick B, baby. How are you, buddy?
What is up,
Always
Rick?
good to see.
How you doing, brother?
And I think
What's
Phil
happening?
said this, and I think we should use this moving forward.
What do we got?
The first lady of professional wrestling, Miss Maria Davis, in the house.
I love that.
Who, by the
that
way,
works
is
for me.
wearing a new pair of sunglasses.
She's got shades going
She's
on.
got shades. She looks
wait a minute.
great.
Maria wears shades while she watches
Yeah, but
this?
she's got fancy looking
So awesome.
shades, dude.
Oh, okay.
Who else we got here? Jason, always great to
you throw
see
me off
you.
every time you say that. I'm like, Jason Voorhees? I can't help. Jason, I'm sorry. Big
Share
Friday the 13th
Bear
guy.
in the house. Share Bear,
Share
always
Bear.
good to see you.
Share
Almighty, another person who we love seeing in the room. Guys, you sharing Thursdays with us
Priceless.
means
Priceless.
the world
Thank you.
to us.
Yep.
Sorry, guys. For some reason, well, my computer's kind of jacked up.
You
still.
need to get that replaced. This
So the
thing's been
sunglasses are
crapping out for-
kind of
well, that doesn't-
reflecting off, and it's like I've got to squint to read, and so whatever. Sasha Banks seems to be getting her way and getting out of the WWE. Reports are coming that her lawyers are negotiating a release from her contract.
Boy, I can't wait till she goes to AEW and the ratings don't move one bit.
It's so funny. Everybody's like,
Have
this
fun,
is the
Sasha.
biggest mistake ever.
Are
The
you kidding
WWE,
me?
she is the most popular. Listen,
Oh.
I love her.
Ha.
I love her. But
That doesn't...
when you're not with the
Ha, ha.
machine,
Right,
You're
yeah,
not with the
please.
machine.
Stop. Just stop. Yeah, whatever. Go ahead. Ruin the rest of your career. Have a great time.
So, everybody knows our show at this point. We like to name our shows and we try to present the title.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, we call this the top 10 black eyes in pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, did the week turn out to match what this show is going to be
He
about.
had a couple
These
of
will not be
problems.
part of it, but
right.
obviously, there are things that happen before that we'll discuss. Jeff Hardy drinking before arrest. Whiskey is my best friend and worst enemy. Jeff Hardy was throwing back whiskey while telling a crowd about his relationship with the beverage just hours before his DUI arrest on Sunday, according to a newly surfaced video. The 44-year-old wrestler was filmed while at a wrestling convention Sunday in Orlando,
Awful.
where he took a sip of his drink and quoted the lyrics, "Whiskey's my friend and my worst enemy." Hardy, whose brother fellow wrestler Matt Hardy
drinking
wasn't
during a
in
performance.
attendance, proceeded to raise his glass and take a drink before serenading the crowd.
Yeah.
Thoughts? By the way, the documents had his blood alcohol level 3 times the legal limit of .08, registering .294 and .291.
How many times can you be given another chance? That's what I think when I see this. I mean, how many times has Vince helped Jeff in the past? And from what I heard, he was even telling Jeff before his release, you can either go to rehab, because this problem was starting to pop up when they released him, from what I understand. He's like, you either go to rehab or you're gone. And Jeff was like, no, I'm fine. Well, then you're gone. And then he goes to Tony Khan, and guess what? At least Vince tried to get this thing fixed before he left, and now all of a sudden Tony Khan's like, "Yeah, we'll take you to rehab." You're not a good guy, Tony Khan. You're second to the to the race. Vince tried to do something for him. I just can't believe that it happens over and over and over again. I don't get why you. How can you keep reaching for the booze? It's weird.
As he drinks a beer.
I'm gonna have more.
Here's my problem.
Okay. Yeah.
Everybody's got problems.
Aren't you thirsty?
I am.
You are? I think you should do something about that. You look parched.
Jeff?
It gets very hot in this.
Good to see you, Jeff.
Yeah. Spidey L'chaim. This one's for you. There you go. That's more like it.
The problem I have here, Pharaoh,
Yeah.
is there comes a point where you're too privileged. So, understanding you have a drinking problem. Everybody's got a lot of problems. I get it. Probably in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
You sacrificed your body for
Absolutely.
sport, which you got paid lots of money for.
Yeah, you did.
All right?
Yeah, you did. With great power comes great responsibility.
You know what? You're right.
Right? Right, Spidey?
And here's the most responsible thing.
Yeah.
You got behind a wheel of a car.
I can't.
And
I can't.
just
Can't do
because you didn't kill someone, this
Can't
80, again, think about this time.
Yeah,
he's
he
been
could've
caught
done what
numerous
Sonny did.
times. How
I
many
mean-
times did he do it before?
Oh, probably a billion. Probably a billion. He's a professional drinker, so I'm sure 5 out of 6 times he doesn't get caught. This is the time he got caught.
But again, you got lucky you didn't take someone's life.
Yeah,
And we'll
absolutely.
be posting the video on our page
Right.
later on tonight, and people have seen it.
Right.
But
Right.
the problem I have, and this even goes back to last week, folks, is this. Because you're famous doesn't allow you to treat other human beings like they don't matter.
Right.
So
agree.
if whether
Well
you
said.
believe
Well said.
Angel last week or not, that's not up for me to decide. But if any of those stories are true,
Yeah.
to treat another human being like that, no matter if she was promiscuous,
Right.
even if she wanted to sleep with every one of them,
Understood. Right.
the way you treated her
Yeah.
was inhumane.
Yeah.
And getting behind a wheel of a car, drinking, is inhumane.
He's done so many great things in his career. He should be so proud of himself. To drown in alcohol over and over again, and to get fired or suspended over and over again. I'm at a loss for words when it comes to Jeff. I think Jeff is so talented. And Matt must be so frustrated too. I'm sure Matt has talked to him 1,000 times about this. And I heard that somebody was criticizing Matt, and Matt was like, I can't be around him 24/7. So anybody who had the balls to talk, well, Matt, you should have been there. Leave Matt the fuck out of this. Matt is, I'm sure, a loving brother who has done everything he can, but you can't be with him 24/7. You're a big boy, Jeff Hardy. Stop drinking. Period. At the age of 44, how much more of a warning sign do you need before you cut out at 53 from some sort of liver disease? What are you doing, bro? You are loved by millions, not by a few. He's a legend, Jeff Hardy. I don't get it.
Jeff Hardy
I don't get it.
is
I'm
clearly
sorry.
broken,
Yeah.
right? You're broken,
He is.
right?
And
You're
It's
broken.
a shame because, again, he's so talented.
But you can,
It's like,
you gotta get help.
of course, and he's had help in the past, and the help ain't working for him. What is wrong with him?
The guest we had last week,
Yeah.
she's broken.
Yep.
We don't know what
Yep.
happened in Jeff Hardy's
Yep.
life that makes him do this.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
No, we do know from what Angel told us what led to her to
Yeah.
do this.
You know what's sad too, and when we were younger, this happened when we were younger. During the Clinton administration, they shut down all the psychiatric centers. America told the mentally ill or the ones who were suffering from addiction, fix your own problem.
Right.
Jeff Hardy should be at Kings Park Psych Center right now, where the professionals can watch over him for a year and get him better. Because I actually know people who got better from that system. Okay? We stopped caring. We have to bring back the psych centers because mental illness is very real. And it's very obvious that mental illness is killing Jeff Hardy. So let's try to do something to make a motion somehow to bring back institutions that try to help you when you have these problems. Otherwise, Jeff is a dead man. That's how I see this.
And if you didn't know it, to the right of me is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh.
Hello.
Words of wisdom, Jimmy. Very good. And again, not to keep talking about Angel, I want to make it clear that I have a ton of respect for that young
Angel's
lady.
fantastic.
Right? She is a good
Nothing
human
but
being.
respect. What a sweetheart.
Who wears her heart on her sleeve.
Absolutely.
And told the stories.
Absolutely.
And people lay judgment.
Yep.
That's your choice.
Yeah,
it's
you
all
could
good.
lay judgment, but I'll tell you this much: Angel is beautiful today, and Angel back in those days was drop dead gorgeous. You're gonna tell me that men aren't gonna be taking rock star privileges? Bullshit.
Right.
So that's how I see it.
All right, other big news, Jim, before we go to commercial break. The WWE boss, this just came out. Now, everybody knows we're pro Vince McMahon, so this is going to be a very interesting conversation.
It sure is.
WWE boss Vince McMahon reportedly paid $3 million in hush money to cover up an affair. Vince McMahon, the CEO of the WWE, is being investigated by the company's board for agreeing to pay a secret $3 million settlement to a former employee who allegedly had an affair with, and according to Wall Street Journal report, the separation agreement, which was reportedly made in January, prevents the former unnamed employee from discussing her relationship with Mr. McMahon or disparaging him, according to the Journal. The investigation began in April and has unearthed other older non-disclosure agreements involving claims by former female WWE employees for misconduct by Mr. McMahon. The Journal said other misconduct claims were reportedly found against John Laurinaitis, the company's head of talent relations. The WWE board has sent an email on March 30th that the alleged McMahon, who's 76, hired the employee at a salary of $100,000 but increased it to $200,000 after beginning a sexual relationship with her. The email also alleges that McMahon gave the former employee, who is 41 and has hired as a paralegal, like a toy to Mr. Laurinaitis.
Well, this is messed up. This kind of haunts me, and I don't want to say this, but I mean, we do say what we think. I really am very nauseous at the thought that Vince McMahon could end like Joe Paterno. Not under the same circumstances, but under sexual misconduct circumstances. I'm very uncomfortable about it, but I will give the benefit of the doubt to the process. Let's see what happens here. I don't know, Mike. What's your take? No one's a bigger fan of Vince McMahon than you are. I mean, this is messed up. I'm not happy about it.
I want to make
I'm not too good
these
about it.
lines clear.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon had a consensual affair.
That's very true.
With this paralegal.
From what we've been told, yes.
Okay?
Yes, correct.
Maybe Vince McMahon has had a million affairs. Obviously, by the records, maybe it is. Vince McMahon is a billionaire.
Right.
Vince McMahon, who knows, maybe wanted to run for office one day. I have no idea. Vince McMahon is also a family man. And whatever his weakness may be, he maybe didn't want to embarrass his family.
Right.
So as a fan and as a human being, you have to look at this in two different ways. Vince McMahon had consensual sex with an adult.
This is not rape.
Okay?
I got you.
Not sexual harassment.
This is not sexual harassment.
Right.
This is not rape. Right.
Was it illegal? Absolutely not.
Right.
Only,
I understand.
I will put a quote on this, it could be illegal if he used his publicly traded funds to pay off said paralegal.
Right.
Then
Right.
Mr. McMahon could find himself ousted as the CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment.
Right.
I don't know that to be the case.
Right.
So the question is, people, if you're upset because it was morally wrong, that's your right, right? You can look at him and say you're a dirtbag, you're morally corrupt, whatever else. He did nothing illegal against the law, as far as we know.
As far as we know.
Right? But it kind of is opening up the door to what was happening, right? Why did Stephanie leave the organization like she did? Maybe she knew this happened. Maybe and she was embarrassed for her mother.
Right, behind the scenes. Right.
How about this?
It's possible.
Do any of us know the relationship between Mr. McMahon and Linda McMahon?
Right.
For all you know, Linda McMahon may have some kind of health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Linda McMahon maybe they don't have a relationship anymore at all.
For all we
and
know, it's
they're
a
just
business
staying
arrangement.
together as a business arrangement.
It could very well be. I don't know, and I don't want to speculate.
Thank you.
I don't know.
We don't know these questions. So again, it's not for us to judge.
Right.
If
but people will.
But if Mr.
They're all going
McMahon,
to come to their conclusions.
If Mr. McMahon
That's
sexually
fair.
harassed and raped someone, that's a different
Oh,
story.
boy, is that a different story. I completely agree.
As far as him handing off this girl as a toy to Mr. Laurinaitis.
Picker power.
Picker power.
Yeah, what about the great John Laurinaitis?
You do that pretty good, by the way.
Thank you. You got to smoke 5 packs of cigarettes a day to sound like him.
Obviously, this woman was a willing participant.
Right. Obviously.
Now, the question is, well, Mr. McMahon, why did you pay her off? Well,
to shut up!
Because maybe he no longer wanted a relationship with her.
Right.
I'm guessing, speculation.
His genetic jackhammer was done.
He was done,
Right.
and she wasn't happy about it.
Right.
And he said, you know what? I don't want any problems here.
Right.
I don't want problems with my family. I've got grandkids. Here's $3 million of my own money.
Right.
But you'll have to fill his paperwork out.
Right.
So now the question everybody's asking is he's got no chance. Nick Khan's going to get him out of there. And he won't be CEO. Understand that the McMahon family owns over 51% of the board.
He ain't going anywhere.
Unless Mr. McMahon inappropriately used funds to pay off this lady, nothing is going to happen.
He's as safe as can be.
And let's not forget his lawyer, Jerry McDermott.
I don't
think there's much. Now the question lies is, how did people find out about this girl when she took this money?
Right.
And now it's out in the open. Does she have to give back her $3 million?
Right. You know what I really find kind of nauseating, though? I kind of have a gift of being able to see things in advance. It's always been one of my things. I wish it would work with the lotto numbers, but for some reason it doesn't.
I wish it did.
Yeah, me
too. For my sake too.
For both our sakes. But
by the way, I'm going to put my glasses on because I want to read some comments. But keep going, my friend. Keep going.
I can't help but think, like, after Vince is gone, and 10 years go by, maybe 15 or whatever, this 41-year-old person who took the $3 million is going to talk. And they're going to say all this shit, probably because they ran out of the $3 million. So when they have these, here's the money, shut your mouth shit, I've never seen it work. It's like people wait it out, the other person dies, or whatever it was that they had a point of contention with, then they run their mouth anyway. So this, to me, is like a temporary Band-Aid. It's a very expensive temporary Band-Aid, but I just feel like one day this person, whoever she is going to say a lot more.
I'm going to read some quick comments. I'd like you to respond to these comments. They're kind of back and forth, so they're all subjects we spoke about, okay?
All good.
Maria Davis, I hope he doesn't turn out like Tommy Stitch.
God, no. Please no.
Don the Barber,
Jeff,
keep voting blue, and those places will still cease to exist. Almighty One, Hannibal's going to drink and drive to get publicity.
Could you imagine that interview with the cop? The cop would fall asleep. He'd be so bored with Hannibal. Here, breathe into this.
Leave me alone.
Yeah,
I am drinking.
But don't start personally testing me.
Chris Lee, I heard Tony Khan and Dwayne Johnson want to buy the WWE.
What? That's interesting. Okay. I'll have to ponder that one for a little while. I've had a couple of beers. I got to think about that.
Maria Davis says, Vince and Mark Merrow's ex, what the heck, and he feels he can do whatever.
You know what? I can see her thinking that. I mean, Vince is Vince, and that's not a...
Here's our friend, Mr. Mike Messier, YouTube channel. Sad days for the E.
Oh,
do you feel sad over this?
You know what? Please. I mean, if the WWE did something amazing, he'd be like, well, what's coming around the corner? Doom! For the WWE. Mark Messier. Here we go. Mike, every time you talk about the WWE, it's going to be your angle, your slanted angle. So it is what it is, Sad days for the WWE. What a shame that they made whatever at the corner.
I know when the Usos had their drunk driving thing, Mike did like an hour video on it. Nothing about Jeff Hardy.
Right. Mike, we love you, but come on, man.
You said it right. Slanted.
Chris
Lee, that's why Stephanie walked away.
Okay, I think so too. I tend to think so too. She's probably pissed as shit. And look, I've never said Vince McMahon is a saint, so let's make that clear.
Listen, there's any
You know?
point in our minds that we didn't think that Vince McMahon was having sex with women all the
You
time?
know what really makes me laugh? You've got all these $1 billion, and I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's a man's freaking instinct half the time. And you're 70-something years old, and you could mess around with people half your age that look like these girls.
Loose Cannon says this is going
I'm not surprised Vince can't behave.
Loose Cannon,
I would behave.
Loose
but
Cannon
Vince
says
can't.
this is going to be the Watergate. Watch.
Wow, interesting. It could
JBO2
be. It
could be the demise.
It could be. It very
Matthew
well could
Holland
be.
told me to button my shirt. Why? What the fuck's wrong with you, pal?
Because he's looking at your nipples. He's getting excited. You know,
Yeah, Matthew, I don't blame you. I'm making you blind.
It's
I
all
guess.
good, man. I'm just fucking with you.
Lou says Steph's smart, and she got the hell out of there.
Yeah, no, I can see
I
it.
honestly
No.
feel that Stephanie's upset that her mother's looking like an idiot.
And she should be. You know, if that's the case.
Phil says he is, after all, the genetic jackhammer.
That's what I was.
$3 million is
earlier.
haircut money.
Of course it is. It's nothing. Could you trim the eyebrows? You know what I mean? It's nothing to Vince. It is.
Jay
what
Wills,
it is.
I always suspected that Macho Man allegedly hit on Stephanie because the way Vince gushed over Elizabeth.
Interesting.
And I am just
That's
putting
interesting.
2 and 2 together.
That's very interesting. Okay, I can go with
You
that.
think that's the case?
No, but I think I'm not for sure. But that's an interesting theory.
So I ask you this: we've had Lanny in a
He's
few
thinking.
times.
Yeah.
Lanny ever tell you anything about Vince and Stephanie?
No. Not really.
Did you ever ask?
Yeah, did we? I'm trying to remember.
We did.
What was Lanny's response?
Lanny said it was ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I don't see that.
But Gorgeous George
Mm-hmm.
said that Randy did tell her that something went on.
Gorgeous George. You believe her?
So, do I believe? Why not? What has she got to gain out of it?
Probably nothing. So maybe there is something to it. I'm not sure.
And then
She's
again,
hot.
I'm a huge Macho Man fan.
Yeah.
Stephanie was 16 years old.
Ooh, yeah, somebody's doing something wrong. Yeah.
Could be a problem, right?
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem.
Just saying.
She was 16, but she looked like she was 24. That's rough.
Agendas, my friend. Agendas.
Yeah.
Everybody's got an agenda.
Yeah, pretty much.
So is it a rough time for the E? It'll be a rough time for the E when Vince McMahon passes away.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it'll be an end, and when all the
I
anti-WWE
agree.
people will look back, they'll say, this guy gave me 40 years of great entertainment that got me through some of my toughest times. Remember something. He's always been a great American.
I have nothing but respect for Vince McMahon, and I am praying that he didn't do anything wrong. We're going to find out.
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank the band that sings the theme song for Monte and Pharaoh, and Jimmy Farrow, along with his partner Bart Griggs, make up the band Wisteria Hall.
Oh, by the
Wisteria-
way, Bartman's retired. I'm not doing it anymore.
What happened?
Because every week lately you've been feeding me alcohol, and it cuts off my top end, so I can't do the high falsetto Bartman. Would you like me to do a Jim Morrison Bartman?
I think, well, by
We
the
could
way, I
change
wanted
it.
to ask you how you felt about that.
Yeah.
I sent Jimmy over the last weekend, the most overrated singers according to some kind of article.
I lost my
And
shit.
his man, Jim Morrison, was number one overrated singer.
Was he?
Yes, he was.
I did not get to number one because, okay, folks, by the way, he sends me this list, most overrated singers, top 25 most overrated singers. 25, I looked, I can't remember the name, but I was like, okay, fine. I get to number 24. I'm not even 2 choices in, and Ozzy Osbourne is an overrated singer. F you. I am done looking at this list. The guy who sang War Pigs and did a bunch of stuff in the mid-'70s that had the same range as the guy from Zeppelin. Yeah, that's right. Go back and listen to Sabotage from Black Sabbath. Same range. Get the F out of here. Overrated. He's Ozzy Osbourne. He's the Prince of Darkness.
Well, one singer
Fuck
that
off.
is not overrated is our own Jimmy Farrow.
What?
Who is
Really?
part of the band that sings that makes up the band Wisteria Hall.
I'm not
sings such
overrated.
songs In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. You can find their music on the Wisteria Hall YouTube page.
Mm-hmm.
Hear them on Spotify, Apple Music, and Reverb Nation.
With Bartman.
If you
That's better.
didn't know it, you were watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte DeFaro. You can catch Monte DeFaro on the Monte DeFaro YouTube page and Monte
Catch
DeFaro Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Twitch TV, Monte and DeFaro page. And if you're lucky enough to live in New York, catch us on Channel 115 every Tuesday at 9:30 and Saturday at 11:30, where we're up against head-to-head with Saturday Night Live.
Live from New York, it's Monte and the Pharaoh!
And which four of their top members quit because Monte and the Pharaoh are seen by over
kicking their ass.
122,000 viewers weekly.
By the way, that's 1,000 more than TNA. I just thought I'd let you know.
That is pretty good.
So, what you gonna do, brother?
And you know why we got that following?
Why did we get that following?
Because we stand by the E.
Yeah.
And we don't have an A agenda.
Right.
Mr.
Right.
M. Messier.
Stuff.
And by the way, Messier, that's enough. We gave you enough rubs throughout your...
Yeah, consider yourself rubbed.
And you picked up your subscribers, and it's over now, Johnny. So you've got your 1,200 subscribers thanks to having a rub by us. Now
ring the bell there, ding-dong. Anyway.
Now go back to writing scripts that John Cena throws in the garbage.
Don't forget to say mean things about us. I'll be sure to sleep thoroughly.
Wait, you missed my line.
What was
I
the
said
line?
go back to writing scripts that John Cena throws in the garbage. In case anyone didn't hear
I
it.
hear a pail
I'm gonna say-
swiveling
I'm
in
gonna say it one
Bayonne.
more time. Go back to writing scripts that John Cena throws in the garbage.
That is rough, man. He didn't see it. He
All right.
didn't even see it.
You know what? That was rough.
That is rough.
Go back to when you went to Titan Towers and they left you at Christmas Day sitting in a chair for 8 hours when you went to interview with them.
And you had a full beard after and you had to shave.
We'll be right back with Monte the Pharaoh present the top 10 black eyes in pro wrestling.
What a mess, EA.
Jimmy, I gotta take a dump.
What?
No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP.
M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Sport and non-sport cards, wrestling items, autographed items. We buy, sell, and trade. M&J Video Games and Collectibles, located at 1049 Queen Street, Southington, Connecticut. Call us at 1-860-479-9223 or 860-93-GAMES. M&J Video Games and Collectibles.
Dino Luzzi energy drink. Yeah, it's that good.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monte the Pharaoh, only seen in here out of Indie Music TV. Here's an interesting comment. Big Boss Fetty says, Dutch told the British kid. Like how we named him the British kid and people call him the British kid
He's the
now?
British kid, yeah. Wrestling shit interviews? Yeah, I know that channel. Yeah, go ahead.
That way back as 20 years ago that Vince didn't live with Linda.
How would Dutch know? Dutch doesn't show up for things. He probably didn't show up for the WWE events. How would he know? He's about as reliable as, give me a break. You were there, Dutch?
Dutch doesn't even show up to get his mustache.
You were probably
shaved.
at home growing your mustache. I think it's getting longer.
Linda wears
Along with
all
your
her
tails.
scars inside. She's a brave woman, says Big Boss Fetty.
Okay, I can see that.
Hey, you know what? Linda's done okay.
But let me tell you something. Linda's stepping up out of that comatose state in WrestleMania. That was some awesome shit.
Chris Lee says, love or hate Vince. He's a man, a self-made millionaire.
Yep, he is.
Oh, Mike Messier rises in. He says,
here we
I am
go.
the worst script writer in history. We agree, Mike.
Come on, Mike. That is,
Don't,
Hey, at
Mike,
least
Mike, don't beat
I'll give you
yourself
props,
up.
Mike.
Don't, Mike,
That's
don't
rough.
beat yourself up so bad.
Yeah, really, Mike. Come on, man.
Write a sequel to one of those stupid vampire novels you try to
Oh,
pawn
my
off.
God. Good evening. I can't
Hey, I got an idea. I'm going to write a novel about a vampire.
What's the first lines? Werewolf, der Kass.
No, he actually wrote a good
I
book
can't-
called Fight or Play Basketball.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah? How many chapters?
Very intriguing title. Fight or Play Basketball.
Fight
I got
or
a question.
play basketball?
Fight or play basketball. Fight or play basketball.
Okay, all right. I'd rather fight, but that's me.
Would you go get a book that says Fight or Play Basketball?
No, I'd probably go fight.
You know what? You're not a big book reader. Jared,
What? I'm not a...
if you were in a bookstore and there was a book that said Fight or Play Basketball, would that
Jared,
be
you're
like,
passive.
I've got to read this bad boy?
You're not reading that.
Nah, probably not.
Why not?
How about
It's not my vibe.
how about a book called Me and My Boner? Would you read that?
Wait, hold on.
That was a great
I want some
question.
feedback. Why wouldn't fighter what is not intriguing about a title that says fight or play basketball?
I can't believe we're at the
What
20.
is intriguing about that?
What is intriguing? He's asking you. What's intriguing about it?
Nothing really. I guess it's like fight or play basketball. I don't have a choice. Fight or play basketball. Why can't you do both? I'll ask you a question. Why can't you fight and play basketball? That should be the title.
Wait a minute. What a great sport that would be.
Basketball fighting.
Fighting. Like, you go into the rim, you can't get inside, you just turn around and boom! The 94 Knicks would have won 5 in a row.
I got to be honest with you. I think the book would have done better and actually had a couple sales if it would have been fight and play basketball.
Right, exactly. I agree. I agree. The referee takes his whistle and puts it in his back pocket, and everybody's just violating each other on the floor.
You're even missing this, man.
Why am I
You're
missing
a really
it?
smart guy, but you're missing it.
I'm a fart smeller.
What I'm trying to
smart
say
fella.
is I'm going to go, it's 7 o'clock, I'm going to go to the basketball courts and play some basketball.
Okay.
And then the next day, I'm going to go in a boxing ring and fight. And then the next day, I'm going to play basketball. And next day, I'm going to fight. Why do I have to make a choice between fighting and playing basketball?
You shouldn't have to. This is America.
This is America. You have a
This
right.
is America. You have a right to score a three-pointer and then smash one in the face.
Clearly, the author doesn't understand that people can make a decision to do both.
Right. Wait a minute. Is he in Canada?
Why would you? On what planet would you only have a choice to do one or the other?
Yeah, I don't get it.
The concept is ridiculous.
Yeah. Tennis or Wendy's?
What are you talking about?
What? He's laughing. What's wrong? You're laughing. The point was to make you laugh. Point done.
Because actually, if I went into a bookstore and saw tennis or Wendy's, I might actually buy that. But I'd be like, well, who wrote this nonsense?
Yeah, exactly. I'm creative. Yeah, you got to leave it to me.
Now I understand why Cena threw his script out.
Right.
Because he's like, I got this whole thing we could do this angle. And John Cena, it's wrestle or play basketball. And he has to, every episode of Raw, he has this quandary about should he wrestle or play basketball. And
Does the kid come out that DiBiase kicked the dribble
Anyway,
away
all
from?
right, enough.
50,
All right, the top
money-
10 black eyes in
Wow.
wrestling. Let's see if people agree. At number 10.
Do you want to define black eyes, or do people, I
Go ahead, define it.
Well, black eyes are things that just put such a stain on the business that it's still talked to about this day with, like, shame or embarrassment.
Oh, by the way, Matthew Holland says bacon cheeseburger.
Bacon cheeseburger, good shit. I just had a bourbon
Is
bacon
the
burger.
bacon on Wendy's cheeseburgers real, though?
I wonder.
I don't think so.
Seems a little plastic.
It does.
Yeah, a little microwaved. Yeah.
Gregor says, hold on.
He says, hold on for
No.
Triumph?
It says Monte can't read his friggin' computer anymore because it's broken.
Leave me glazzies.
Just more lefty trash going after another Trump's high-profile friends. Who gives a F about this? Very interesting.
That's cool. Hey, that's how you feel. That's cool. Bro.
Almighty One says the biggest black eye is number 1 is Ron Simmons.
The biggest.
All right, come on. Explain black eye because we got to get this show going.
I just did.
All right, good.
You missed the whole thing.
I missed the whole thing.
You're right. Let's
Because I was fighting or playing basketball.
Yeah, well, you should have just done both. Wouldn't have been so confused. All right. So what do we got for that? What do we got for that?
That's so true. If I would just play both, I would have been able to listen to you,
You would have
explain
been
the black
focused.
eye and
Instead, you
focus.
subdivided and fucking out there.
That's right.
All right.
Very
All right.
smart.
All right. Top 10 black
Number
eyes in the history
10.
of pro wrestling.
Let's see if everybody agrees.
Number
10.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper, Bad News Brown.
Oof.
The lame feud remembered for the wrong reason. The feud between Roddy Piper, Bad News Brown never reached satisfying conclusion and became best remembered for the unfortunate body paint that Roddy Piper decided to put on that night.
Yeah,
Pharaoh?
that's just really, really tasteless. Obviously, back in the day, it might have been shook off like, whatever. We had a much hardcore humor back in those days. But there's really nothing funny about this. What the hell are you doing, Roddy? But on top of it, Vince was probably like, "That's hilarious."
So why would
you know what I mean? So
But why
this
would
is
you think
not
it would
right.
be? Why did we rank that as a black eye for pro
Well,
wrestling?
because as the years go by, it looks worse and worse and worse. Is what it really comes down to. I mean, this was basically knocking him for the color of his skin. What the F are you doing? It's tasteless. Okay,
It's tasteless.
It's tasteless.
It's unacceptable.
Bad idea.
And
Real bad idea.
And it was really stupid that WWE even
every
let that
person
fly.
out there's blood is red. So this was
Well,
very
I would
tasteless.
tell you
Very tasty.
I was offended when he first came out during that. I was
Were
pretty
you
offended.
really?
I was
Good
offended.
for you, man. You were ahead of the curve because 30 years later, that's completely unacceptable. So I give you props.
Well, it's just like, I
You
don't know.
know, I was shocked. I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
I think when it comes
And he didn't need to either.
wrestling,
What are
which
you
can
doing?
definitely go over the line, I don't think that
Yeah.
race or religion should ever be
leave 'em
dragged into it.
Leave them
right?
out.
That does not need to be dragged
Leave
into it.
them out.
All right, number 9. Our old friend Jeff Hardy makes the list. The charismatic Enigma fought the Icon Sting in the main event of TNA World Heavyweight Champion. So what happened in Jeff Hardy Sting's TNA Victory Road match?
Oh, yeah.
Sadly, Jeff Hardy entered the match completely intoxicated, resulting in then TNA executive Eric Bischoff coming
Bischoff.
down to the ring.
Yeah, this was a huge black eye for so many different reasons. I mean, think about it. People, most wrestling fans are not wealthy and have personal cash to dump away on pay-per-views or other things that they spend their money on involving.
That's a really
pro
good
wrestling.
point.
I mean, and I was one of these fans. You paid good money to watch the TNA pay-per-view, and out comes one of the heroes. This is a legend, Jeff Hardy. He comes out completely demolished. Talk about not caring about the fans, but even more importantly, what if he had hurt Sting? Because as we all know in pro wrestling how dangerous it really is, if you are off on someone dropping somebody on their neck or head by a half an inch, they are paralyzed. So you have Jeff Hardy not giving a fuck about the fans or their hard-earned money, not giving a fuck about his opponent, only absorbed in his own poisons. And the real shame of it is just this week, those poisons continue. This was a huge black eye on the business. This was bad. And if I may throw this in, because I'm not sure if it's on the list later, if it is, forgive me, but when Vince Russo was writing in the WCW Scott Hall alcoholism into gimmicks, that was another black eye to me. These people are sick. They're sick. You don't do that. So this was very much a black eye. And obviously, in the sad reality, Jeff has not learned. Wow.
All right.
Wow.
And you know what? And he clearly had no respect for the fans, clearly showing that.
No.
Number 8, Damian Kane makes an appearance on the Monte and the Pharaoh show.
Oh, my God. You want to talk torture? Hey, folks, you want to talk torture? Try being a fucking interviewer and having a guy refuse to leave 1995 for an hour. I wanted to castrate myself. Castrate myself without painkiller.
Actually, Chris Lee said that. I'm sorry.
Chris, I agree.
All right.
Oh, my God. Help me, mate. Help me.
Number 8,
Yeah.
Sonny, Tammy Sitch, caused a wreck that killed Julian Lasetta March 25th, but was not until later that the toxicology
wow, that's
test
a rough word,
confirmed
bro.
the 49-year-old former
Toxicology.
pro wrestling personality had a blood alcohol level more than 3 times over the
times.
legal limit
3 times.
at the time of the accident, police said.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Sunny is very responsible in her irresponsibility for embarrassing pro wrestling and embarrassing every wrestling fan. Here's another one. How many times can you be given another chance? And I really want to know who the fuck Sunny's friends are. Who are your real friends, Sonny? Because we were going to have Sonny in, and she canceled, and then a couple of weeks later, she was in jail. And I thought to myself, I had the nerve to think to myself, if we meet Sonny, maybe I can make friends with her. She needs a real friend. Because she's such a fuck... No, seriously, she's such a fuck up. And I felt so bad for her. I was like, maybe it's that she's lacking people to tell her the right things. So when she freaking canceled on us, I was so disappointed. And then she gets arrested, and then she gets arrested again for killing somebody. Absolutely a black eye on the business. And have they removed her from the Hall of Fame?
Doesn't matter.
They kind of need to.
Really?
at
You
this
think that's
point.
important?
Yeah, I think that it would send a message to other fellow Hall of Famers or Hall of Fame hopefuls. You act this way, you are gone. I think that it would be a good message to send, quite honestly.
All right, number 7, ex-pro wrestler sentenced to more than 25 years in jail for sex crimes.
Piece of shit.
The former professional wrestler, best known as Buck Rock and Roll Zumhoff, was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Zumhoff,
Wow.
63,
Yeah.
was
He's dying in jail.
was against guilty on 2 first-degree and 2 third-degree counts of criminal sexual conduct against children.
Yeah. Well, we already know. You guys can fill in the blanks, and if you want, write in your comments. This guy is probably the biggest scumbag on the list. I mean, my God. You know, and it's funny too. Back in the day in the pro wrestling magazines, you'd see him with the boombox.
Right.
Everyone boomboxes with his shit.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, wow, this guy's cool. Well, guess what? This guy is a fucking piece of garbage. Awful, awful human being. This did not help pro wrestling in one bit. This is 2 black eyes and a broken fucking leg.
And that being said, next week, special guest on Monte and Pharaoh, Rock and Roll Bug Zumhoff.
Well, let's see what he's got to say. Maybe he's got something, to clear his name. It's
Well,
our job to ask questions.
Well, yeah.
So, Rock, tell me about your...
There you go. Very good.
It's bad.
Number 6,
Yeah,
which
it's
we've
bad.
covered numerous times, WWE scandal that rocked the tabloids in 1992.
1992.
Tom Cole took his own life over. He was in part of the Ring Boy scandal and accused employee Terry Garvin and ring announcer Mel Phillips for sexual misconduct.
Yeah, this was absolute garbage. I still believe to this day that they did do some wrong to him. And I liked Lee Cole. I thought that Lee Cole was a good guest. He was pretty passionate about it. I'm not happy about it. It still bothers me to this day. Every time, and I can't shake it. I'm sorry. Every time I see a photo of Terry Garvin, I want to barf. He looks like a creep, but that's me. Okay, this is just my opinion.
On the other hand, Mel Phillips kind of looks normal, doesn't he?
Mel Phillips, yeah, I guess that's fair. I guess that's fair. But apparently he was magic on the mic. It's not good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Magic on the mic.
No, Mel Phillips is a scumbag. This was not good for anybody. Wasn't this the Donahue stuff?
Led
some
to
of
it.
this?
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
this was not good for pro wrestling. This was an absolute fucking eyesore. And it never should have happened. Whatever did happen, no good.
The more and more we get into this is, again, maybe it's because it's a smaller society,
Right.
but it seems to be and again, you notice a lot of these are all WWF stuff, right?
Right. Sure.
Because
it's the biggest mainstream
Right.
news. It's the biggest
Right.
company.
Right.
The most eyes were on it. The most damage was done. It's the Yankees of the business.
number 5,
Hey,
Owen
listen to
Hart
you.
death. What really happened, and those there on May 23rd, 1999, the wrestling world mourned the loss of the King of Hearts, Owen Hart. People behind the scenes on this unthinkable day reflected on the tragedy, answering the all-important questions: what went wrong, and why did Vince McMahon let the show go on?
Well, it's pretty obvious what went wrong. What had been done dozens of times, someone screwed up with the equipment. It's very obvious what went wrong, okay? Someone didn't do their job and a man died, okay? They were held accountable and have paid. This doesn't make anything any better.
Right.
But they were held accountable and they've paid for, financially or whatever. Not that that makes any difference. What really bothers me here is how people are like, how can you let the show go on? Look, it's been told 1,000 times. Vince McMahon asked the roster in the back, from what I understand, do you want to go on? And they all decided to go on. The ones who didn't could have stood up and said, no, I don't want to. The bottom line is the card continued, and no one held a gun to these employees. Now you want to get all carried away? Well, Vince would have fired them. Oh, bullshit. Stop it. Okay? The card went on because they decided to carry on with the show because that's what Owen would have wanted. At least that's how they felt. I'm not sure why we have to turn this into a decades and decades of, oh, he let them go on and all this crap. You negative, nasty whatevers. Stop, okay? I really believe that that's what happened. And I don't think Vince was like, all right, everybody get out there because I said so. What is this, Satan? Calm down. It's a wrestling company. It's not Satan. Vince McMahon does not have and is not the Lord of this earth as the Bible proclaims Satan to be, okay? Stop. Ridiculous. Was it tragic? Absolutely. It was definitely a black eye on the sport. It's something that we're still hurt and haunted by to this day.
Matthew Holland says Jimmy Pharaoh got strapped by New Jack.
I did.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
New Jack and I were tight, man. I don't. He never strapped me. I don't know.
You were a very
New Jack and I
big
were tight.
fan of Jack.
Yeah,
you guys got along pretty
yeah,
well.
We got along very well.
On the other hand, we did. I didn't anyway.
You were like freaked out by him. Not afraid,
he
but
was
freaked
weird.
out by him. I loved him.
He was a bit
I thought
weird,
he was fantastic.
in my opinion. Number 4, the steroid trials. The United States versus Vince McMahon court case in 1994, better known as the steroid trials.
Right.
In the 90s, the U.S. government attempted to take down Vince McMahon and the WWF amid a series of steroid scandals.
Right. Well, for all you deniers out there who never say that, well, Vince is bad and blah, blah, blah. This was a witch hunt, okay? And let me explain why this was a witch hunt for anybody who has half an open mind. This is 1994. Do you know what was going on in baseball in 1994, Major League Baseball? The government is launching an investigation to stop Hulk Hogan. In 1994, 95, 96, 97, 98, Major League Baseball let everybody put bicycle pumps in their arms, okay? We all knew it. Did the government come and shut down Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens or any of your other appropriate heroes? No! They went after Vince McMahon. Give me a break. Witch hunt. How'd that end up? Right away, that trial. How did it end up? Can you tell me? Can you tell the audience?
Vince McMahon, it's pretty tough to beat.
Yeah, he sure is, isn't he?
Hey,
so the hypocrisy
I want to share something.
Especially in 94.
I want to share something.
Go on.
Sharebear says, "Hey, Mike, I'm digging the new look. I don't think your shirt is open enough. I think you should rock a guinea tee.
What is going on
Wife
here?
Beater.
Yeah, these people want to see
but
your nipples,
not
bro.
even with
They want to see your Monte
gold
nipples.
chain.
That's what's going
my
on
friend.
here.
So
just give him a peek.
I'll be honest
give
with you.
Give him a peek.
It's literally hot and balls, as hot
It's
as balls in the
hot as
studio.
balls
and
in here.
I'm
It
about
is.
a little bit overweight right now, and I am sweating like a stuck pig.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm trying.
What's your
Believe me, I'm
cologne?
not trying to show off my man boobs.
What is your cologne? Because it's not evening of armpit. You're doing good.
No, God has helped me. Like I'm not smelly. Like
No, you're not.
I never
You're not
really,
smelly.
even in my worst days, I don't become smelly.
No, you're not smelly.
But I'm also very hairless.
Oh, you're lucky that way.
And
is that because
honestly,
you're upper Italy? Like
you want to
deal,
talk about
or-
how
I'm
wrestling
just
changes
asking.
your life? Important stuff about wrestling changing your life.
Yeah.
So the normal male, growing up, they get older and they become hairier, right? Their armpits, their
Well, I'm Greek, so I'm going to say
right. Their arms, their legs,
And
their
Irish.
genitalia. In some cases, some people have it on
Genitalia.
their back.
Oh, can I get this in real fast? Hey, Spidey, after we're done kvetching like this, we're going to commercial break. I got to piss like a racehorse. Thanks, brother. Keep going.
You don't have time.
What are you talking about? We got 5 minutes. Go ahead.
So, anyway,
You're
growing
hairless,
underarm.
and
You're
not
growing
stinky.
underarm hair.
Okay.
And this is how important wrestling is. So, if you ever notice, the wrestlers usually never had underarm hair.
Oh.
And
all right.
there's a clip out there where Lou Albano is doing a gimmick thing, and
Okay.
I think it was during the Cyndi Lauper thing, and he was talking about he shaves his underarms because it keeps yourself clean. It keeps yourself.
Lou Albano.
Yes.
The essence of cleanliness.
But hold on.
Those
he
rubber
shaved his
bands were
underarms.
sterile.
I started shaving my underarms, and I will tell you with that, that's why I don't smell. I
Interesting.
shave because the hair keeps.
But let me
the
ask you
smell.
a question, though, and I've heard this. If you shave your armpits, does the hair grow back 10 times as fast?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay. So if you ever decided to stop shaving your armpits, it wouldn't go down to your
There's
kneecap.
some people that are against it
Interesting.
though because supposedly what are they pheromones or what are they called pheromones?
Pheromones, or
Right,
something, hormones.
which attract women,
When you-
right? Supposedly the hair keeps those pheromones, if I'm saying it right,
Okay.
in the hair.
Okay.
And, But that's why I probably never get laid. Anyway, he's
So
got to
you're
pee.
not- you're not-
We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll finish up the top 10 black
Pharaoh's
guys.
got to pee. See you in a second. I pee freely.
Do you treat your dog as part of the family? Well, so do we. So why not celebrate your pup's birthday with the ultimate party box? Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Party Pup Info, and let us make your pup's party or any celebration perfection.
Tired of that same old breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Same old tasting scrambled eggs, burger, that dinner steak, ribs, or pork chops? Why not add a little bit of spice or just a touch of heat to make the difference? Change that scrambled egg with a little bit of Johnny Fabulous's John Cena Sr.'s $1 Million Jalapeno Hot Sauce. Great on burgers, steaks, chops, and those barbecued ribs.
Oh, what's up, Mike?
Hey, Jimmy, what's going on?
Yeah, nothing much.
You know, Jimmy, I love this country.
Oh.
I love to buy made in America material. And I love to buy my artwork at TAG, T-A-A-G, Made in America, 14 East Broadway, Port Jefferson, New York, 11717. The shop at the corner. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and Pharaoh. Hey, Phil says out there that looks like, did you know that Bruce Lee removed his sweat glands? Is that what he said? Let me see here.
Really now?
Yeah.
Remove them? What
Bruce Lee removed his sweat glands in his armpits. True story. Yeah, that's interesting, Phil. I'm wondering if by him doing that caused his early demise.
That's very strange.
Right? Because glands are pretty important.
You kind of need them.
Yeah. And that's really interesting. All right, number three. The Montreal Screwjob.
Yeah.
We all know about the Montreal Screwjob, 1997, November 9th, the Survivor Series pay-per-view, where Vince McMahon manipulated the match to take the belt from Bret Hart, the reigning WWF champion at the time.
You know what's funny? The more I think about this, is this a black eye on pro wrestling? Is it? Because a promoter wanted to protect his title before a self-absorbed competitor decided to take it to the competition? I'm not so sure that this is a black eye.
I think it matters
I'm sure to all the Vince haters this is
That's
a
what I'm
black
saying. It
eye.
matters what side of the fence you're on.
That's
this,
true.
Right?
That's true.
If
But I'd be protecting my company.
Listen, I always agreed with Vince.
Yeah, I'd be protecting my company.
Is it a
I'll
black
just
eye?
give it up on the next night. I don't think so, dude. You lose the title when I say you lose the title. What the hell?
Well, it's clearly probably one of the most important events to have ever happen in pro wrestling history, right?
It is.
So I think on whatever side, if you're pro Bret Hart, it's a black eye.
It's a
If you're
huge
pro
black eye.
Vince, it's not a black eye.
Right.
Number two, the Bruiser Brody murder. Brody died in 1988 from stab wounds suffered backstage in a shower during a wrestling event in Puerto Rico. The killer was Jose Gonzalez, better known as Invader One. A jury acquitted Gonzalez of murder, ruling that Gonzalez killed Brody in self-defense.
Self-defense, my ass. This was an absolute travesty. This was a travesty, dude. It bothers me to this day that Gonzalez walks free. Brody is as dead as can be, and justice was never served. Carlos Colon, I am very positive in my gut. I can't prove it, but I'm very positive in my heart that Carlos Colon was very aware of it, that it was all going to happen. And basically, they murdered a guy who was, a family. He had a family. I will always consider this a huge black eye. It freaked me out when back in '88, I think it was the year, when it happened. And it has always bothered me. This is sickening that justice never came for Bruiser Brody.
So I'm going to make a quick statement, and then you'll probably
Sickening.
correct me.
Sure.
Bruiser Brody God knows now that you know more about him what could have been, but the issue is, if Bruiser Brody was never murdered that night, where would have Bruiser Brody been in the annals of pro wrestling?
I always wondered.
For someone like us, we never saw Brody. We rarely saw Brody.
Rarely.
Even though in the early
Rarely.
days he was in the Madison Square Garden. I think he actually wrestled Bruno. Right. And all that
he
stuff.
popped in the Georgia Championship. I remember that, but then he was gone.
With Abdullah. They would just
Right.
have those matches, and
Right.
you didn't know why they were fighting each other, and then they disappeared.
Bruiser Brody was a specialist. Right.
So my point is he became more famous over the murder, I think, than anything else.
You think
in my
that the
opinion.
legend grew even more? Because I do feel at the time that Brody was a main event type guy. Even though he didn't have a belt, I kind of compared him similar to, and I've heard it said, a Stan Hansen type. But I felt he was scarier, quite honestly, than Stan Hansen.
Brody was not, in my opinion, not very good on the mic.
Okay.
He wasn't a very good wrestler. The only thing I remember Brody for
think he
is
was
his
perfect for
Abdullah the Butcher.
Right.
The touring with Abdullah the Butcher. In fact, I can't remember Brody being in any kind of other kind of feud that attracted you. Like he was in WCCW for a while. I don't remember him, fighting the Von
Who was
Erichs
his
or whatever
legendary
else.
opponents?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
understand that. I think that Brody was just magnificent for the type of. He was very special as far as his own thing. He was a great brawler. I can't say he wasn't. I loved his leg work as far as the way he would do the knee lifts and the kicks and stuff. He could do things. His job was to be menacing, dangerous, loose cannon, hey loose, and scary. And he did it fantastic. As far as his talking on the mic, I thought he was fine. I didn't think he was gifted at it, but I thought that he did the job fine. He came across as a loony, and he did a lot of shouting. He accomplished what he needed to. I thought he was very solid for what he was.
But again, a major black eye where someone can be murdered
Insane.
in front of a whole bunch
It's
of other
insane.
people,
And then they got
nothing be done
to
about it.
get Tony out of the country.
Yeah.
To save his life,
Yep.
like Savio Vega said. I mean, what is going on?
All right, and number one, this one's probably pretty easy, topping the charts.
Yeah.
Over a 3-day period from June 22nd to June 24th, Chris Benoit, a 40-year-old Canadian professional wrestler employed by World Wrestling Entertainment and living in Georgia, murdered his wife Nancy and their 7-year-old son Daniel before taking the easy way out and hanging himself.
You sick fuck. Yeah, you know what's funny? When you first brought this subject to me about doing the 10 biggest black eyes in pro wrestling, I said, well, 1 through 10 is Chris. What are we going to do after that? Because Chris deserves like 100 spots for what he did. It is so revolting, sickening, nauseating, and shocking on so many different levels. And on top of it, Chris Benoit, if you had asked me to pick one guy from the roster that would have done something like this, he probably would have been the last guy I picked. But then again, there's that old saying, watch out for the quiet ones, because Chris was very reserved, very quiet, seemed like the last guy in the world that would do something like this. But not only to just hammer home the grisliness, when you're killing your family and you leave Bibles next to them, Bibles, you've just made the fast track to Satan's pit. I am sure that there was a real quick shoots and ladder straight down, That is just the worst. This is the greatest black eye in the history of the business, and one of the greatest black eyes in the history of humanity. Anybody who could take their child and their wife and do this is a fucking monster.
Again, purely speculation.
The end.
I always believed that Benoit had an argument with Nancy.
Yeah.
It went too far. He
Yeah.
killed her, realized his life was over,
Yeah.
and said, you know
'Cause it
what?
was.
I'm going to kill my kid, too.
I can't believe that, though. You sick fuck. What the fuck? It's bad enough that you got in a fight with your wife and you did what you did. Can't you just leave the kid out of it? You sick fuck. I mean, seriously. And no, Chris Benoit does not deserve any, well, maybe he was on roids or maybe he would. I don't want to fucking hear it. You don't do this to your family. What the fuck is wrong with you? And those who defend him or think he should be in the Hall of Fame, get the fuck out of here. Seriously.
All right.
You'd excuse anybody then. It's just ridiculous.
I want to thank you guys for all joining us today. Appreciate you guys coming in every Thursday.
Absolutely.
Want to make some quick announcements. Next week, we will be having the police officer who arrested Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Iron Sheik on that fateful night.
This is
We've
crazy.
got Tommy Rich back in studio along with Rugged Ronnie Garvin, I think, on July
Together?
5th.
They're coming the same day?
Same day.
That's cool.
And we've
I love
got
Ronnie Garvin.
Greg Valentine, I think, in August. Anyway, you can look at the schedule, see, and we'll have
Nice.
more. We've got some AEW women coming through here, so we're actually going to
Nice.
talk a little AEW.
There you go.
But I still won't change my
Is Tony
stance.
Khan driving them?
Probably.
I'd love to meet that little
If you
squirt.
didn't know it, you are watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Catch us on the Monte and Pharaoh YouTube page, Monte and Pharaoh Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, and in New York, Channel 115 and Channel 20. Pharaoh, any parting words?
Well, folks, once again, it's been a faberific week. Thank you for tuning in and letting us come into your living rooms. And I hope you enjoyed the top 10 biggest black eyes in pro wrestling. You've been watching Monte and the Pharaoh. And until next week, on behalf of Mr. Monte, this is the Pharaoh. Later, guys. Love you.